Today, we're diving into the absolutely incredible story of Ayutthaya, the once glorious capital of the Kingdom of Siam. We're going to explore how a mighty empire literally fell into ruin, and how its memory was painstakingly pieced back together. All right, let's get right into it. This right here, this is probably the most famous, most iconic image of Ayutthaya. It's this serene stone Buddha head just nestled peacefully inside the roots of a giant tree. It's the perfect symbol for the city itself, a story of human creation being reclaimed by nature, and of a strange tranquility born from some really violent history. And that brings us to the big question, right? Ayutthaya wasn't just some city. At its peak, it was one of the biggest and most impressive urban centers on the entire planet. So how does a place like that, the heart of an empire, just become a field of ruins? That's the mystery we're going to unravel today.
So to really get a grip on its past, we've got to start with what Ayutthaya looks like today.
What you're looking at now is the Ayutthaya Historical Park. This isn't just a forgotten pile of rocks, though. It's the preserved core of that old capital, and it's a protected UNESCO World Heritage Site. Think of it like the ghost of a city, but a ghost that still has some really powerful stories to tell. And here's where it gets really interesting. To understand how Ayutthaya ended, you first have to look at how it began, and that, it turns out, is a bit of a puzzle. Okay, so the official story, the one you'll read in most books, starts in 1351. That's when King Ramathibodi I set up the city as his capital. And for the next 400 years, it was this bustling center of power and trade. Seems pretty straightforward, right? Well, the real story is a lot more complicated. Because when you look at this timeline, that simple founding story just kind of falls apart. Instead of a city popping up out of nowhere, historical sources point to a much, much older history. There's evidence of a Khmer city named Ayodhya right here, way back around 850 AD. Then another account says it was founded in 944. This means the official founding in 1351 might not have been a creation story, but more like a very clever relaunch of a city that was already ancient. So you have to ask, was King Ramathibodi a founder, or was he a refounder? Was he starting from scratch? Or was he just slapping a new coat of paint on a city that had been around for centuries to really cement his new dynasty's power? The evidence is so fragmented, it makes the city's true origin a really fascinating historical debate. So, from that mysterious beginning, we pivot to its incredibly dramatic end. And I mean, the fall of Ayutthaya, it wasn't some slow fade. It was a sudden, violent, and absolute cataclysm. You see, Ayutthaya had this long-standing rivalry with its neighbors in Burma. Way back in 1569, the city was actually captured for the first time. And while that was a huge blow, the city itself wasn't pillaged. It eventually recovered. But what happened 2 centuries later was a totally different story. 1767. Remember that year. This is the year everything, and I mean everything, changed. After a long siege, the Burmese army finally broke through. And this time, they didn't just conquer the city, they annihilated it. The result was just total devastation. The city was systematically burned, looted. These headless statues aren't just random damage. This was deliberate. This was an attempt to completely erase a culture, to break its spirit. The Ayutthaya Kingdom never came back from this. And that single event reshaped the future of the whole region, forcing the capital to move south to a small trading post that would eventually grow into the megacity of Bangkok. For nearly 200 years, those magnificent ruins were just left to the jungle. But the story doesn't end in fire and ruin. In the 20th century, a new chapter was about to begin, the journey from a forgotten ruin to a celebrated world treasure. You can see the city's modern comeback right here. It really kicks off in 1969, when Thailand's Fine Arts Department started this massive national project to reclaim its heritage from the jungle. Making it a historical park in 76 and then getting that UNESCO status in 91, well, that shows a huge shift, from a symbol of tragic loss to a source of immense national pride and global importance. Yeah, being named a UNESCO World Heritage Site was a huge deal. It meant that Ayutthaya was no longer just a Thai treasure. It was a site of outstanding universal value for all of humanity. It basically guaranteed that its legacy would be protected for generations to come. So after this journey through its history, from mysterious origins to a fiery destruction and a modern rebirth, what's actually left of Ayutthaya today?
Let's take a little tour of the key sites that tell its story.
First thing to know is this place is huge. The main part, the core World Heritage Zone, is basically an island surrounded by rivers. But there are also incredible ruins scattered all around it in what they call the buffer zone.
And inside that core island, that's where you find the absolute heart of the Old Kingdom. We're talking about the grandest temples and the royal palaces.
Check this out. This is Wat Phra Si Sanphet. Its three iconic bell-shaped spires are pretty much the signature look of the whole park. It was located right inside the royal palace grounds, so it was the kingdom's most important temple, used only for royal ceremonies. Its sheer scale just screams power and wealth. And here we are again, back at Wat Mahathat, the place from our opening image. As one of the oldest and most important temples, wandering through its sprawling ruins gives you this raw, really visceral look at the destruction of 1767. Another absolutely magnificent sight is the massive reclining Buddha at Wat Lokayasatharam, draped in that bright saffron cloth. It gives you a powerful sense of the just incredible scale of the monuments that once filled this city and the deep devotion that built them. And just outside the main island is Wat Chaiwathanaram. It's built in the Khmer style, and its towering spires create one of the most majestic silhouettes in the whole park. It's a perfect reminder of the city's artistic influences and its power, which stretched way beyond just the central island.
You know, when it comes right down to it, to wander through Ayutthaya today is to walk through a landscape where history, tragedy, and nature have found this strange, quiet harmony. It's a place for reflection, a place to really feel the weight and the wonder of centuries gone by.
Which leaves us with one final thought. The story of Ayutthaya is one of creation, destruction, and then preservation. Its survival wasn't an accident. It was a choice. It was a conscious decision to save it. And it makes you wonder, as we look at all the ruins of our shared human history, what stories do we choose to preserve, and why?